be South, it might be homeschooling, it might be with kids from Rogers and Maple Grove. And ironically, those kids who come in as kids with issues do just as well as the kids who've been brought up in Waldorf and K-8. So let me talk a little about why I teach there. I want to compare and contrast the Watershed High School to the Minneapolis School District. Going to the Minneapolis School District's website to get information today, they have $696 million for roughly 32,000 kids projected for next year, which is $20,000 per kid. It's actually $19,985 per kid. Of that, roughly 60% comes from state aid. So roughly $11,000 in state aid per kid. We don't get anywhere near that much state aid. We get about $8,500 per kid. Also, the Minneapolis School District gets another 30% of their money. That's $190 million a year from local property taxes. And although most of our students live in Minneapolis, we're not allowed to have access to any of those property taxes because we're not part of the geographically based district. And then there's access to another almost $70 million in federal title money, which, if we were a big school, we could have the programs put together to get access to the title money. As a smaller school, we still are legally able to, but there are serious economies of scale that prohibit it. As a result, we get about 40% of the amount of money that Minneapolis gets per student, 38 to 40% as much. They get 2.5 times as much per kid. So why would anybody in their right mind teach at Watershed High School? We get paid less? We do. Also, in a charter school, the board of directors, by law, must be made up by a majority of teachers. Now that sounds like, wow, we're going to have control. No, it means you've got meetings after school, pedagogical meetings, site committee meetings, board meetings, and other committees. So it is way more than a full-time job. It just is. And if, in the case of Watershed High School, you start out as a private school with people who teach because of passion and not because of licensure, you end up needing a license. And virtually all of the original teachers for Watershed High School came right up cheek to jowl against the licensure issue. Most of us found it impossible to get through that. As students here, and some of my fellow students I recognize, I've been in classes with you guys, you know that although we can learn a lot in these classes, there's a lot of work involved. And sometimes classes don't feel terribly useful. Sometimes they're actually quite useful. We could argue about which are which. Let me tell you why I teach at Watershed High School. I teach there because my classes are pretty small. This year, on Friday, my mystery field trip class, which is actually, the title of the class is In the Belly of the Beast, Seeing the Man in His Natural Habitat. This class goes out to meet with somebody every Friday who is doing something that they're passionate about. And we ask them, why do you do that? What did you have to do as training to get this job? How can I get this job? Can I apprentice to you? Or we go see somebody who offers a service these kids are going to need, like a landlord. What's it going to be like, these are seniors, to rent an apartment? What happens if you screw it up and have drunken beer parties and you end up evicted? What does that do to your ability to rent in the future? So we do that kind of stuff. That class is only 10 kids. There's no way I could teach that class in a big public district. And it would cost a lot less because we'd have to have buses and all that. This class, I got a couple seniors to drive. We load up in the cars, we got each other's cell phone numbers, and we go. My other two classes have about 25 kids a class. Last year when I taught calculus, oh, by the way, I've taught 24 different subjects in the 6 years I've been a teacher. You see, at our school, although we recognize licensure is important, or necessary, I guess, and we don't really think that knowledge fits into those licensure categories. And as a result of it, we like to kind of go where knowledge takes us. And as a result, with my training, I've got training in math. I've got a master's in biostatistics. I've got training in public health. I have an undergraduate degree in Puritan religious history. So I've kind of been around the block a few times. And I've been willing to learn more stuff. Because when my daughter needed school, the first class I looked at, Johanna was teaching. You don't know this. And you were teaching about megafauna in North America. And I didn't know anything about that, and I was dazzled. It's like, wow, cool. And what I've learned is at Watershed High School, I get to we use a block system for teaching. So for main lessons, for a month, in pursuing a topic in depth, I get to learn something new every month. And that's fun. That's one reason why I teach it. When I taught calculus last year, our calculus kids discovered that the function of u with respect to u, f-u-d-u, looks a lot like FUBU, F-U-B-U. And they decided, well, calculus guys could have their own line of clothing. And so we created the calculus hoodie. Okay? It's got FUBU on the side. The native kids were so jealous. They wanted Phoebe clothing for Indians by Indians. And we suggested FNA, BNA for Native Americans by Native Americans. But in any case, they didn't do it. We ended up ordering, oh, by the way, the coolest numbers ever on the back, E, pi, 0, 1, and I. These are the 5 most important numbers. These are the ones that have cosmic and mystical significance. The kid, and the formula, by the way, works. It's an integral. The bottom line on this is that the calculus hoodie became the symbol of being the coolest kid at the school last year. If you had a calculus hoodie, you were cool beyond belief. And I like teaching at school where the calculus kids can be the coolest kids. We ended up with kids begging me to order more of these and wanting to be, we had kids cutting their art classes to come to calculus. By the end of the year, the 6 kids who were in calculus had grown to 6 kids taking it and 5 additional ones auditing it. They had dropped out of art to go to calculus. That's why I teach there. So the pay is lousy. We have lots of extra work. We get actually less than half as much money as any other district. But we get to know the kids. Just as I reject the notion that knowledge is categorizable, I reject the notion that principals and superintendents need different bodies of knowledge and need different licenses. I think that's silly. I also reject the idea that kids are different. And the classifications of 504s and IEPs and LD this, and I know we have to do that by law, and we have a higher percentage of kids with IEPs and with LD and with 504s than the city of Minneapolis. We've got almost half of our kids with one of those. I don't see them that way. These are kids. And what I want to do is see the person. So you talk about community building. This year, for the first time, we've had a fair number of kids of color. Almost half the school this year. That's new. And one of the concepts in this conference is to talk about how do we integrate that. And what I've been trying to do is see the human being. Just that basic. Just trying to see the human being. How successful? Am I done?
No, come on.
Okay. How successful I've been at that? Not terribly successful. The charter school at the heart of the housing project at Hiawatha and Franklin. Anyway, there was a charter school there that closed down. It was almost 100% Native American kids. I went over there. City of Minneapolis was trying to sign kids up. I went over there and commandeered a table and said, well, I'm a charter school. And we ended up signing up a dozen Native kids to come to our school. And in all honesty, we weren't terribly successful. We've discovered that these kids have cultural needs that we're not really very good at coping with. We're down to 2 or 3 of them as opposed to the dozen we had. We had some gang issues this year, which we've never had before. But you live and learn, and you do that by seeing the human being. So that's kind of my take about teaching. So I don't believe in licensure. I don't believe in special ed, but I like teaching. So.